Okay, now that you're familiar with how common public speaking anxiety is, we're going to talk about some different tools that you can use to help you navigate public speaking anxiety. So, we have two buckets. The first is mindset, and then next we'll talk about behavior. So, mindset. Mindset are frameworks that help us reframe how we're thinking about the anxiety. Okay. The first thing to check in with your mindset is to realize that if you are nervous, it is not a sign of doom. It does not mean that you're going to do a poor job on your speech or whatever the public speaking event is just because you feel nervous. There have been studies that show that there's absolutely no indicator that that is causation. So let yourself be nervous. It's totally normal. Now, the next can be a little bit tricky, but it's about embracing the excitement. So, public speaking anxiety, that feeling that you get in your stomach or in your throat, it's generally part nerves, but it's also generally part excitement. So, what I urge you to do and what Brooks studied is those who use an affirmation statement, I am excited, before performing, felt significantly less nervous than those who said, I am calm or nothing else. So this is really showing that we're leaning into the excitement versus even just saying, like, I am calm, which I do think could be useful. But according to this study, leaning into the excitement is actually more effective. So you can use the affirmation, I am excited, as an out loud statement. You can say it in the morning, you can say it in the mirror, you can say it in the car, or you can also use it during maybe a meditation practice where when you breathe in, you say in your head, I am excited. You breathe out, you say, I am that. So give it a shot. The next that I think is so crucial for everyone to know is that public speaking anxiety really peaks in the first 30 to 60 seconds of a speech, and then it decreases. So that means two things. The first is it's incredibly important to practice the very first part of your speech an extra amount of time. You really want to feel very confident going into it that you've nailed that attention getter. So that is, the thing that I would practice the absolute most so you have confidence there. The second thing is just remind yourself that the feeling that you're feeling when you first get up at that podium or wherever you are is the most nervous that you will feel. And it will decrease as you start to get into the rest of your speech. So that's important to keep in mind. The next thing is that the audience truly cannot tell how nervous you are. I've told this to past students many, many times who, after the speech, have, told me how incredibly nervous they were. And I could not tell. I could not tell. It's way more in your head than what the public can tell. There was a study here by Thompson and his colleagues that studied that the physical signs of nervousness, people who were showing that when giving a speech, that's like trembling hands, trembling voice, fidgeting, rocking, they weren't rated any lower on public speaking performance than those who did not exhibit any anxiety. And of course, this isn't like extreme amount, right? If you're like rocking or you're like fidgeting in front of your face or something, that of course would impact stuff. But this is just, a small fidget, trembling generally, you cannot tell even if you can feel it. So just keep that in mind. The next is to use fear as a motivator. Practice is so important in building confidence and feeling less nervous. And so, if you are feeling fear and nervousness, pour that energy into practice. Practicing is the most important thing that you can do to actually feel confident. And then lastly, I love this. Please remember that the audience is rooting for you. Audiences respond well to vulnerability. They can feel, they're empathetic, right? They can feel being in your shoes. They know that public speaking is a nerve-wracking thing. And so if you're feeling very nervous, it's totally okay to acknowledge it in a small way. Perhaps at the beginning of your speech, you can just say, I'm feeling really nervous. Or if you lose track of where you are in the speech, take a deep breath and just acknowledge to your audience, feeling really nervous, we're getting back on track. They are rooting for you. They want you to do well. So keep that in mind. Alrighty. Those are the last things. And next, I will have you do a written discussion following this prompt.